what that is? That ain't water erosion. Those are indigenous molojetes, or grinding mortars. Who knows where the pestles are? They're very cool. They're right here under this bridge here. At the perfect time when the sunlight's shining right on them. The average restaurant operating costs synopsis. Rent and utilities. Includes electricity, water, cable, phone, internet, etc. Is approximately 5% to 10% of revenue. Food, 25% to 40% from sales of same. Labor, including management salaries, 10% to 30% respectively. Insurance varies by provider and type. Marketing, typically on a monthly basis and discretionary. The average restaurant profit margin overall is 10.66%. Fine dining, 10 to 15%. Casual, 2 to 9%. Fast food, 2 to 6%. Cafes, 10 to 15%. And pizzerias, 15%. The average food dollar spent in restaurants. 3/4 of each eating out buck is spent on service, meaning not much is left over for everybody else. Ironically, especially the farmers. In essence, 72 cents per food dollar gets eaten with prepared meals from restaurants, bars, clubs, and fast food establishments. The average food expenditure for a restaurant is between 25% to 35% of food revenue, or between $5,000 to $15,000 per month. Mind you, for smaller establishments with fewer patrons. Key points: cuisine variations. Restaurants focusing primarily on fresh produce, vegetarian, vegan options spend a larger portion of their food budget on nuts, fruits, and veggies compared to other dishes, most if not all of which come with some mixture of same. Seasonal constraints notwithstanding given a greenhouse. Calculating food costs. Determine the most exact amount spent on fruits, veggies, tubers, roots, nuts, berries, herbs, spices, etc., including nut milks, by tracking the actual cost of produce purchased and used throughout a given year. As a caveat, also determine paper product purchases from cups, plates, and to-go boxes to towels and tissues, etc., because paper pulp casting productions can easily and seamlessly be incorporated too. The average amount of acreage needed to grow food for a restaurant. It varies greatly depending on size of, menu style, and farming practices. Generally, a single acre can potentially produce enough food to supply a small to medium-sized restaurant with a diverse selection of menu options indeed, requiring careful planning, efficient use of space, and intensive gardening techniques, ideally biodynamics. The key factors that influence acreage needed. Menu type. Diets primarily based on vegetables, fruits, nuts, and berries, etc., require less land than serving quantities of meat, not to mention the additional butchering and freezing facilities necessary for those. Agricultural practices. Vertical and climbing techniques maximize production. Waste. No such thing as everything is converted into soil or other useful materials and substances. Biodynamics, by far the most natural and organic of methods, inspiring permaculture and regenerative farming practices, which subsequently adhere less and less to the original principles of Rudolf Steiner. Sadly, climate and growing seasons. Different regions, including microclimates therein, can affect certain crop yields per acre or plot. Restaurant fluctuations. It would be wise to prepare, preserve, and however store off-season produce, which would obviously include additional, albeit modest, processing and storage facilities, much of which could likely be done in-house anyway. Know the hardiness zone. 8B, 15 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit. 9A, 20 to 25 degrees Fahrenheit. 9B, 25 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit. The east side of Clear Lake is more temperate than the west side. Upper valleys can have cool pools that settle in which case the growing season may only be 4 months. However, some, if not many things, can also be grown with the right coaxing, i.e. an enclosed, temperate, air and light controlled environment, like a greenhouse of Quonset hut might suffice. Integral to proper soil and produce production sustainability. Chickens. Restaurants typically spend $2.99 per dozen eggs on average. This fluctuates depending on resource location and egg type, organic versus free range, etc., including current market prices, sometimes reaching up to $5 per dozen. Number of egg layers. To supply a restaurant's needs depends on how many eggs are used per week. A dozen eggs per week equals 3 to 5 hens. 2 dozen eggs per week equals 6 to 10 hens. Egg production factors. Inclement weather, severe cold, abundance of overcast days, predators, quality feed, age of hens, and accommodations comfort level especially. A single hen can lay 1 egg per day, though not always, and it takes approximately 26 hours to produce 1. Other considerations: local agricultural laws and ordinances, production goals, target markets, chicken breeds and strains, preferably heirloom. The mutually beneficial proposal. The help me, help you, help us, help more objective. Supplying most, if not all, and then some of the restaurant's grocery necessities and needs, as prefaced in the synopsis. Viability is distinct for many varied reasons. Unused and out of the way and yet close by, all-inclusive acreage exists on premises without need of change other than very little clearing, creation of garden beds and trellises. A small rice/alfalfa paddy for water-intensive species, which could include spirulina. It is very easily accessed, monitored and maintained 360 degrees, nothing steep and no erosion issues, with mineral and material resources readily available nearby. Year-round water source. No need to use underground or above irrigation piping whatsoever. Terraced infrastructure is already in place, ideal for just such an occasion, which includes a broad plain. Soil production scalability. It takes 5 months to transform fresh biomass and vegetative waste and debris into fertile soil. A substantial enough pile can be made every week and subsequently flipped every 2 weeks, with crushed eggshells for biolime, biochar, and other on-premises grown nutrients added as amendments according to need, including vermiculture, introducing worms at certain points of the process for their precious castings and further composting abilities, creating opportunity for passive income in the form of selling some to fishers. By the way, duck ponds produce immediately bioavailable nitrogen, which can be readily used for optimal plant growth, not to mention provide benign bug and pest control and super healthy eggs to brood. While volunteers are conceivably also available to lend a hand here and there. Huge potential for classes and whatnot. Add a hive for pollination, honey, and what that comes along with keeping sane. Paper making, natural dyes, extracts, and specialties, etc. abound. Conditions. Now is the prime time to begin such an endeavor, for most plants are currently dormant or fallow, and the ground is easiest to work with when naturally moist, in limited light of the winter season ahead. And the most stable and sound place to build from and upon is always at the base of any structures and or proceedings' ultimate integrity, that being the very foundation of sustainable longevity. This mutually beneficial relationship would subsequently touch and positively affect countless more, and for it to have a chance to truly succeed, would entail at least a year-long commitment from all sides in order to be fully realized and set in motion. Prep base during rest of winter, sow come spring, first harvest in summer, along with the second harvest within fall, and then winter again, prepping for the next successive season, snowballing into greater bounties in years to come until an equilibrium or homeostasis is achieved. Give it a few years for that. As for fruit and nut trees, well, that'll take several more years, but given time and caring commitment, rest assured, it could potentially be the crowning feather in Harbin's majestic hat.